Welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show. Today I've got Audriix on. How are you, Audriix?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. You're a pop musician. I was listening to some of your stuff on Apple Music, and I think it's quite talented work what you're doing. Are you a trained musician? Did you go to any university, or what's yours? What's your journey?
Sure. Yeah. Trained musician since I was 3 years old, actually. So when I was two, I heard Vivaldi's The Four Seasons on violin, and I begged my mom to let me take violin lessons.
Mm.
And she said no. And I kept badgering her over and over again for a year. And then when I turned three, she finally said okay. And so she would drive me twice a week, a half hour each way for two 15-minute lessons a week, because that's all that I could do as a
Mm.
small child. So that was, I started violin then, and then sort of started singing when I was four in, preschool, and then piano when I was five, and songwriting when I was six, and sort of eventually added also a guitar and drums and viola. So essentially just my whole life was, since I was three, was just all about music. And then I did go to university as well. I went to Stanford
Mhm.
for undergrad, and then a master's and an MBA. So I was there for quite a while. And that was more for the business side. So I studied computer science, and then my MBA was for business. So that was more kind of, I felt like I had the music side from all of my training for years, and felt like the business side for a career as a musician was so important. And so that was sort of filling in that side of music as well. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I did a Bachelor of Music in clarinet, classically trained as well. So I
Cool.
learned to orchestrate all my stuff. That's how I write music. Uh, we did a bit of the business side, but that's not my field of work. It stick to the creative as much as I can. But I do like pop music as well. We had to transcribe a pop track by Joanna Newsom. She's a harpist, and that was quite difficult to do and actually do it for an orchestra.
Wow. I love harp. I've always wanted to play the harp, actually.
Mm. It's always got different tunings as well, so they're always changing. But you're a pop musician. I like your stuff. I
Thank
think
you.
it's really good. I was listening to it yesterday. And how did you decide to become a pop
Sure, yeah.
songwriter?
I just grew up listening to pop music. I just love pop music. My first real pop music love was the Backstreet Boys. I
Mhm.
actually, when I was six, I was in my first band, which was called the Backstreet Girls. We were a bunch of first graders, and we sang Backstreet Boys songs. So I've always been a boy band fan, but I think honestly it was just, that's the kind of music that I really always loved listening to. Also, I'm a big fan of musical theater and Disney stuff as well. So those are sort of my background vocally in those areas too. But I've just always loved pop music. I think I love catchy, it's upbeat, catchy.
Mhm.
Makes you feel good. That kind of music is just great.
Mhm. I like listening to Lady Gaga myself. I think Lady Gaga is talented as well. There's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, I love Lady Gaga. She's tremendous.
Yeah.
She's really.
So, are you working on any albums at the moment?
Currently, just writing a lot, more so focusing on singles, but have
Yeah.
been all through the pandemic doing a lot of Zoom co-writes, which surprisingly I actually really like. Of course, I miss being in person with people, but there's
Mm.
something really cool about writing on Zoom where, I'm here in my home studio,
Mhm.
and, we'll start working on a song, and as a musician, I can record my vocals here, or I have my piano right here as well, and you know, also I'll have sort of my end of stuff, the producer will have their end of stuff, and we'll kind of all work together. And then the nice thing is, if you get to a point where you can revisit songs that you're working on, which I think is kind of nice. Whereas I feel like often I would fly to LA or fly to Mallorca or wherever to write with someone, and I'm only there for that day. So there's the
Wow.
pressure of, oh, you better finish the song that day. And with writing on Zoom, I really have enjoyed being able to start work on something and then be like, let's give it a couple days and come back and sort of ruminate on it. And I have really enjoyed that process, actually, as much as I do miss being in person with people.
Mm.
Yeah, so really
Yeah.
focusing on singles. Yeah.
No, I mean, all that travel back and forth just to write a song. Wow, it's a lot.
travel a lot. COVID's been so weird. I haven't been on an airplane in over a year. But I used to. I felt like I lived out of a suitcase. I would, yeah, I'd fly to. I live in South Lake Tahoe, Nevada. So I was there, but I would also spend a lot of time in the Bay Area, and I was commuting to LA all the time. And for my album Status Change that I released a year and a half ago, I wrote those songs with different people in LA and London and Mallorca. So I was kind of all over the place. So definitely looking forward though to getting back into traveling once things are opening up.
That is so cool to do that. Yeah, I mean, I do all my shows as a podcaster remotely as well. So it does have an advantage with Zoom and Skype, but I did all my, like, when I write all my stuff, I do it in my DAW on my computer. I do all the mastering myself. But if I was to give my stuff to an orchestra, they'd be able to play it, you see.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, no, I think, but I'm with you. I think there are some nice things about being able to do stuff remotely. My hope is that when we get back to our new normal, it'll be sort of a nice hybrid where we keep a lot of the good things about doing things over Zoom, but of course still have that, get back to that in-person element as well.
But all that traveling, because I've never experienced all that commuting as a musician, only local to and from uni. Does that hit you financially very hard?
You know what? It's not too bad. Because I fly so much, I've got some good deals and miles with United.
Nice.
So I was totally good on that. And it got to the point where the people at Burbank Airport in LA knew me. So it was really, I managed to work that out. And I have people I stay with in various places. So not too bad. Was able to make that work, luckily.
Do you travel first class, business, or economy? What's your preferred way to travel?
I mean, if I have I'm able to sometimes get into business from good upgrades, given that I have lots of miles and stuff. So
that's what we want. We want business or first class.
Exactly. If you can get it, I don't pay for it, but if I can get it with some miles, then I'll take it.
The food tastes better in business than first class anyway. Yeah. No, it's no, wow. That's, have you been traveling since the pandemic, or everything's remote for you?
No, I haven't at all. So the only thing I've done, I have gone between. As I said, I live in Tahoe, Nevada, and my family lives in the Bay Area near San Francisco. So I've gone between. I'm in a bubble with my family, so I've gone between those two locations. But that's just a 4-hour drive, where I always am like, I'm not even stopping for the bathroom because I'm not going anywhere. So I have not gone anywhere at all. I'm like I have been the ultimate super super careful person. My whole family has been like, haven't not even going to the grocery stores, going nowhere, just because
Wow.
my grandma's 92, and for me, I also, I have some health issues, and I also very much as a singer am terrified that what if I get lung damage from coronavirus or something that affects my singing. So I've been very careful. I've seen people for social distance walks, and that's the extent of it outside.
Yeah, you guys have been hit very hard in the States. I'm in Australia, but man, what's going on there now?
Fine. And Australia's been pretty good, huh?
Hmm.
Lucky.
What's the situation where you are?
I think it's getting better. Honestly, it's hard to keep track of what all's going on because I honestly a long time ago stopped reading. I was at the beginning, I was reading the news every day to see how things are going, and it just got to be much. But you know what? I think by April 1st, which is in a couple days, they're opening up everyone in the Bay Area to get vaccines for all ages. So I think the vaccines are going pretty well. I don't know how the numbers are. I think it kind of fluctuates, but I think things are headed in a good direction, which is awesome. So we're started slowly but surely. I think a normal life is coming back.
No, that's so cool. Slowly in Sydney, Australia as well. Last year, at the end of November, there was the Support Act charity put on like a free concert, and that was like one of the best concerts I've been to, just to get out of the house and go and watch some live music. Various musicians too, which is pretty cool.
Wow, I miss live music so much.
I think live music's better than pre-recorded, in my opinion. It's better atmosphere.
Oh, I'm with you. My by far favorite part of being a musician is performing live. I mean, I love writing, I love recording, all that stuff, but live performing is my real passion. So and it's sad. 2020 was supposed to be a big, a big touring year for me, and that obviously all got canceled. My last show I played was last year, March 11th. At House of Blues San Diego, and the next day is when Live Nation canceled all shows for the rest of the year. I had another show canceled the day after that. That was obviously canceled. Like everything wiped out, obviously. So I think I played one of the very last live shows of the year last year, but I can't wait for that all to come back. That'll be awesome. Hopefully soon.
Audriix, has this hit you very hard financially as a musician?
Everything's kind of gone away. Like, of course, all touring canceled. You can of course, you make some on Spotify and, iTunes, but it's not the same. So yeah, it has. But I think everybody's in the same boat. It's just tough. It's tough for everybody and hits different industries in different ways. So.
No, it's you're not the only one. A lot of the big greatest bands are like Metallica. I think had all the tour dates booked. I think Lady Gaga, but they can't. Talks about doing it on Zoom, but it's not the same doing a Zoom concert.
I've done a couple Zoom performances, which is fine, but yeah, it's not the same. Although, actually, fun fact, I had a real blast. So I mentioned that I also am a musical theater person. So I was in a production of Mean Girls, the musical, on Zoom, playing Regina George, who's like the head mean girl. And we actually we did it last month, and we performed all live on Zoom. So whole cast in our own rooms, but all like coordinated virtual backgrounds, the full show, all scenes, all songs, all live costumes and everything. And that was actually pretty fun. Even though that was on Zoom, it really did feel like a live musical performance. So that was a highlight. It took a lot of rehearsal. We were in rehearsal for many months, just figuring out how to actually put on a good show that's actually fun to watch on Zoom. But I think we got it pretty good. So that was fun. But in general, Zoom is not the same as in person still.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole virtual world we found 2020 to be in, devices and all that, It's very weird.
It's wild. It's yeah.
Yeah. But like you have the news bombarding everyone about all the negative, and I don't know, it's crazy. Still, it was like that in Australia too.
Wow. Interesting. I love Australia, I'll say, by the way. I was there a number of years ago. I loved visiting.
Mm-hmm. Do you plan to tour Sydney, or what are you looking at doing in the future, Audrey?
Hey, I'd love to come to Australia. That's a good question. My managers are just now starting to, reach out and look at different, live shows. I think it's still everything's still a bit of a question mark of when will things open up. But I think the hope would be I'd love to open. Pre shutdown, we had opened for an artist named Verite, and then I opened also for Alien Age's European tour prior to that, which was really, really fun. So I would love to. I think it'd be great to get an opening slot for someone's tour. It'd be fun to go to Australia, but who knows what if people will be traveling and touring internationally. But that's the goal. Is as soon as possible, as soon as things open up, is to get back touring.
Yeah. Do you have any venues you're looking at playing at in Australia, or you don't know yet?
I don't know, but I know I would love to. I'd love to come back. So I don't know what are the good venues. What are the good venues?
There's the Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney. There's ANZ Stadium. There's the Auden Pavilion. Those are pretty popular. Awesome. Sydney Cricket Ground. If you can.
Yeah, that all sounds amazing. Yeah, I'll tell my managers to look into that, because I would love to come back to Australia and play some shows there. That'd be so fun.
Do you like playing in the smaller venues or the bigger venues better for yourself?
Bigger the better. It's so funny. I have always thought I actually perform better. Like the bigger the crowd, the better I perform. I think, because I don't know. I think I do better performing live than performing in my room by myself, because I just get so energized by the crowd and energy from people there, and I just love it. So the bigger the better. Hopefully one day Madison Square Garden in New York. That'd be the big goal.
Wow, that'd be my dream place to go one
Yeah.
day. Yeah, no, that's cool. I always found the smaller venues are better. It's a bit more engaging as well. I saw Dream Theater at the Horton Pavilion. Have you heard of them? They're like a
No,
Dream Theater. They're a progressive metal band. Uh, they're really good to see live.
I'll look them up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, small venues are fun too. I like sometimes it's fun to go and watch a show in a small venue to kind of connect with the artist more. I think for me, with my kind of pop music, it's really fun to like the more lights and like smoke machine and all that stuff, the better. Like I think with my particular kind of music. But for a smaller, it's also fun. I've played some, smaller shows with just like, with just the piano type of thing. And those I think are fun to have a more intimate setting. So
Mm,
any live performance is fun.
it is. It's always good. And I looked up your YouTube channel as well. How have you found YouTube?
YouTube's great. I mean, I'm such a fan of music videos, and that's been something fun too. Is I've still managed to film music videos during the pandemic. All outside safely, everybody in masks, not me because I'm on camera. But so it's really I have a lot of fun making music videos for my songs because I think it just adds another element to the song, and
Mhm.
it's always fun to just get creative with that. So.
That's so cool. Yeah, YouTube's such a competitive thing now, too. There's a whole algorithm to deal with as well. How are you coping with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say just online social media, all that kind of stuff is trickier for like as I said, my strength is a lot more in live performing than on social
Mm.
media stuff. So that's been certainly an adjustment with the pandemic is having to shift my focus from just preparing for live shows because that was the way that I found by far most effective getting new fans and reaching people is if I'm performing a show I can actually connect with people in person and so it's a lot more impersonal and different to try to do that whether by YouTube video or on Instagram or whatever. So yeah, that's trickier. That is trickier and something I'm still figuring out the social media world for sure.
Wow. Yeah, no, social media is a whole new thing for me too, Audrey. When I started my company last year, but always found, word of mouth has been better as well. What's the
Yeah.
difference between word of mouth and social media for you?
I mean, I'm with you on that. Yeah, as I said, I think playing a show, you get people more excited, and then they're more able to, willing to, wanting to spread it, whether it's by word of mouth or by them posting on their social medias too. But I think that kind of thing I've found more effective than just if I just post a picture of myself on Instagram. I don't know who really is going to care. I mean, my current fans are going to care, but in terms of actually gaining new people,
Mm.
I haven't found that as effective. Whereas, I love playing a show and you get people excited and you have their attention for it's. I mean, it's by far the most targeted marketing that exists. Right there, they're there to see. In my experience, especially being an opener, they're there to see the headliner. My music is a similar vibe to the headliner, so they're already engaged, and then
Mm.
they're excited and then they post about it and then getting to meet the fans after the show too. It's just I think forming more of a personal connection with people as much as you can hopefully makes them more, I found they become more of a fan of me and not even just a fan of my song because I'm hoping I want to connect with people and it's great. I love if anybody listens to my music and adds it on Spotify, but I do think social media does enable you to connect with people. And actually at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing quite a bit of live streaming on Instagram. And got to build up a fun group of fans on my Instagram who I talked to and they messaged me and it's really really fun to connect with people that way. So that's been nice too, but obviously it doesn't beat in person.
Mm. Yeah, I mean the whole Instagram, Facebook, you got TikTok now. I don't use TikTok. I just got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on a new one called Webtalk as well.
Huh.
But the Instagrams or not the algorithms on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so competitive. If you got to have like a following of 10,000 for people to discover you, and I'm putting all the correct hashtags in, and it's I don't know why it's so difficult.
Hey, I'm with you on that, especially on TikTok. I've started posting some TikTok stuff. I don't get it yet. I'm
You don't?
still figuring it out. I don't know. It's random. Also, I posted a video of me skiing, like a 10-second clip, and it got a bunch of views. And then I posted a video of me singing a song that I'm like, oh wow, I sound great on this, and doesn't get much of anything. It's totally random. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, what's next with Facebook and all that? What do they want to do? You know.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. Maybe there's a new app will come out.
And tech you're like so sounds to me like you're a professional singer. You took a lot of lessons, did you, when you were younger?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Lessons in all sorts of instruments and voice and acting and all that kind of stuff.
And
Lessons are great.
you tried to play violin too?
Yeah, violin. My first instrument since I was 3 years old. I've played violin, so that's a
And you still playing the violin, or what are you doing with that?
sometimes not a ton, but I my sort of one violin performance a year, which didn't happen this past year, obviously. But at Stanford, they do every Christmas a performance slash sing along of Handel's Messiah, and so I grew up, which is beautiful music. I grew up going to the Stanford Messiah sing along and singing, and it's the whole audience can sing. But then when I got to Stanford, my professor was the concert master of the orchestra and invited me to join the orchestra and play. And then since I now sit up front, second chair with him, so I every year get to play violin for the Messiah performance, which is really really fun.
Yeah, look, I tried to play violin. I started very late, but I don't know. I got very big hands, and it gets a bit of a disadvantage for me.
Yeah.
But no, I felt the clarinet was more suited, so I played a bit of Handel, sort of orchestral or excerpts as well. Each to their own, That's so cool. Violin. It's not an easy instrument to play.
Violin's fun. I love it. And viola was fun. I started viola a number of years later and was in a symphony playing
Mhm.
viola. That was really fun. We actually went on tour one year in Germany and Poland and got to play there, and that was always really fun too.
Have you ever broken a string in the middle of a concert?
No, I haven't. What happens? It hasn't happened to me, luckily.
No, I always ask this cellist, double bass, viola, violin, and what do you do?
I mean, it's definitely happened to. I mean, you just very quickly you have to have extra strings. You just you just quickly replace the string. Or I would say if you're the concert master and you break your string, then somebody behind you hands you their violin and you use that.
That'll be awkward.
Yeah.
It's like a clarinet reed because they break so easy. You just chew them up so much. But strings in the violin, they last you 6 months before you got to change them.
Yeah. No, luckily I haven't broken one in a performance.
They're expensive too.
Yeah. Yeah, they can add up.
Was there any brand that you were using?
Oh gosh, I don't remember because I play more for fun these days on the
Yeah.
violin. So, but I do love my violin is beautiful. I love it. It's like a beautiful warm sound and it has these carvings of like kind of like flowery carvings on it. I love my violin.
Have you got an electric violin?
I do. That's a great question. I have a 5-string electric violin. It's really
Wow.
cool. Swirly white thing, and it's 5 strings, so it's a combination of both a violin and a viola,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of fun to play. That's a
Have
real blast. Yeah.
you ever experimented with like drop tuning on your violin?
No, I haven't actually.
Like a drop D tuning? You can.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No,
very
have not.
20th century for that. That'd be so cool. Yeah, electric violins are good. I've actually heard them live too.
Yeah. I mean, Lindsay Sterling plays her plays her violin. She's amazing. Yeah.
Mm, wow. And did you get to play any like Paganini pieces when you on your
Oh
piano?
yes, long ago. I did play some Paganini, yeah.
I tried some of it on the clarinet. Caprice number 24 is very popular.
Yeah.
It's nice to play as
Yeah.
well.
No, my favorite was Vivaldi though. I was
Hmm.
always Four Seasons. As I said, that's how I got into violin to begin with. But I would always, over the years, my teacher, because I was 3, would write like a simplified version of the Four Seasons for me, and then over the years would sort of expand it. And eventually, I got to playing, when I was older, playing all the seasons. But that's still my favorite piece to this day.
Wow. Yeah, Vivaldi's good. It's always a good, bright sound as well. I studied a bit of him in music theory as well.
Yeah.
And J.S. Bach's very popular
Mhm. Yeah.
still.
Oh, there's so much good music out there. Yeah.
Mm. And what else do you do besides music with yourself?
Yeah. So I played on the Stanford golf team back in the day. So I don't play competitively anymore, but I still love to play golf for fun.
Hmm.
And that's a blast. I mean, I do honestly I spend most of my time on my music because I consider I love music. It's my passion. But I also do a lot of improv
Hmm.
and acting. Um, what else? Yeah, I don't program. I was a computer scientist, but I don't really do much computer programming anymore. I love my dogs. I have 3 collie dogs, so yeah, I stay busy. Got some
I,
very yeah.
when I finished my undergrad, I tried to do computer science with Python.
Okay,
I
cool.
was very terrible at that. So I was much better with HTML and CSS, more of a
Uh-huh.
web developer. Yeah, computer science is interesting.
Yeah, it's hard. I spent a lot of time programming back when I was at Stanford. It was a busy, very busy time because I was doing music and on the golf team and majoring in computer science. So always had to be on top of my various different work. Yeah.
Stanford University, that's very expensive to go there, is it? To study at that place?
A lot of I think in at least in the U.S. Universities are expensive just in general. Yeah.
Wow. And you play golf? Yeah, I tried to play golf as a kid. Was always losing my patience with it.
It'd be a frustrating sport for sure.
I think if you watch like Tiger Woods videos, you just, yeah, it's inspiring. Just do
Oh
what
yeah.
you want.
No, I love golf. It's so fun. It was always fun too because I felt like it was the one sport where you can become friends with the people you play against
Mm.
because you're walking and chatting with them. And some of my best friends were people who were on not just on my golf team in high school and college, but on the teams I played against as well.
Wow. And yeah, no, that's so cool that you've done that.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
is. And with acting wise, have you always wanted to be a full-time actor?
I mean, I'm more passionate about music for sure, but I did a lot of theater growing up. Have always loved acting,
Mm.
and as I said, just performing in general, I love. So sort of any sort of thing that puts me on a stage. But I've sort of looked more recently at trying to beef up the acting side too, and see if we can shift into more of the film TV. So that's new to me because my background's more in theater, but we're
Mm.
just now starting to say, okay, can we incorporate this into the music stuff as well and looking at that. So I've done a lot of acting classes for years and all that kind of stuff too.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. A lot
Yeah.
of people in Australia would like to do that, like to be a musician full time, you know?
It's fun. It's a frustrating and difficult industry to be in, but it's a lot of fun. I love it.
Mm. Wow. Look, there are actors that I look up to. Dwayne Johnson, he's one
Uh,
of my favorites.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
Vin Diesel as well. He's good. The Fast and the Furious, the good series to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are there any
Yeah.
movies that you're binge watching or any TV shows you're watching lately?
Ooh, yeah. That I'm like, well, I watched The Bachelor, which is a little. That's not really acting. That's just a
Mhm.
reality. I do love to watch The Bachelor. I'm currently watching Modern Family. I actually never watched it before, but I am having a lot of fun with that. I like a lot of the teenage drama type things. So, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars, all that sort of stuff, TV wise. And then movie wise, I am obsessed with Harry Potter. Always have been
Wow.
a Potter fan. So I love all of those. I love Mean Girls, obviously. I love Elf. I think that's like the funniest movie ever. So yeah, lots of different stuff. I do like to I like to watch TV quite a bit.
Wow, The Bachelor. That's if I watch that, it's awkward for me. It's like, oh, what's going on?
Oh my god, it is just a hilarious show to watch. It's so entertaining.
Mhm. I actually put my name down to be a contestant on that, but it didn't hear
Really?
back. Yeah,
Oh my god, that's amazing.
in Australia, but never heard anything back. But oh well. No, it's like there's been a TV show going on for years, The Bold and the Beautiful as well. That's
Oh, I haven't
been
watched that actually.
and we got Neighbours and Home and Away in Australia as well. But yeah, I've binge watched a couple of shows. I'm watching a series on Amazon Prime called Startup at the moment.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Is it good?
Oh yes,
Okay. I'll look into that. That's cool.
yeah. But yeah, there's good stuff out there.
There's a lot of good shows out, I've found. There's a lot. I have a very long list of shows that I want to watch, but I'm kind of going one in general, one, well, not one at a time, but just a few at a time. But I really want to watch The Queen's Gambit, but I haven't, but I'm told that that's really great. So that's probably next. And Stranger Things I really really like too.
Hmm.
That's there's a lot of good TV out there.
Mm. And Harry Potter, like I remember seeing Order of the Phoenix as a kid. That went on for so long. The book's like so thick as well. Just kept going on and on and on.
I love Harry Potter. I was just the biggest fan. I had two Harry Potter birthday parties when I was younger because I kind of grew up being around the same age as Harry Potter as the books were coming out. But yeah, I also had a magic club at school. Everybody called me Harry Potter. So I was just all into it and going at midnight to get the books in the bookstore or to see the movies.
Wow.
I met J.K. Rowling, actually. I dressed as Harry Potter. I don't remember. I think it was after book 3, maybe. But I was dressed as Harry Potter, went to a book signing and met her and was interviewed on Nickelodeon and CBS dressed as Harry Potter about why I love Harry Potter.
Hmm.
It was great.
Yeah. Is Nickelodeon still going? Are they still around?
So I don't really watch it anymore, but I think so. Yeah.
Then there's the Disney Channel. I think they're still around.
Oh, yeah. I watched a lot of Disney Channel growing up.
Mhm.
Super into that.
Remember there was one called Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. That was popular.
Watched that. And That's So Raven, Phil of the Future.
Mhm.
Lots of good stuff. Yeah.
I think on Nickelodeon was the Jonas Brothers, and there was Drake and Josh.
Yeah, I watched that too. I was Nickelodeon and Disney Channel were my two channels growing up.
No, they bring back memories. They do those shows, but yeah, and that's so cool. Stanford University. Wow,
It was fun. Lots of work, but fun.
was it? What was her and computer science? That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it was a lot. The Stanford CS course is just it's no joke. So my undergrad CS focus was in graphics. So I actually, interestingly, it is quite relevant to my daily life as a musician. Not the coding part, but graphics in terms of photography and graphic design and video editing and all that kind of stuff. And then my master's in CS was in human computer interaction. And there was a lot of crossover actually with music courses in the computer music department. So Stanford has a recording studio on campus. That's just beautiful and amazing. And so I took classes there which counted for my major, where you're learning how to record and miking techniques and mixing and all that kind of recording studio stuff. So actually a lot of the CS stuff was really quite relevant as well.
Yeah, because when I was doing Python, right, they'd give us like little coding exercises with exorcism.io or something like that. And I'd be trying to code it, but I'd keep getting all these syntax errors all the time. I just lose my patience, Audrey.
Yeah, you I had many long days and nights coding. Yeah, it was a lot.
And actually, like when I was going to a meetup with some software engineers, they said, just stick with music, Stephen.
Yeah. No, I liked computer science though. Honestly, I think for me as well, even though I always knew I was going to do music, I wasn't ever going to be a programmer. I was kind of like, I would rather spend 10 hours coding than 10 hours writing an essay. So, or even 5 hours writing an essay. I was just, which is weird because I do love to write music, but in terms of writing essays, that kind of stuff, that just really wasn't my thing. I would much rather just code something. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to write a lot of essays in music as well.
Mm.
We had to think critically.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
taught me a lot.
Science stuff, even though I'm a musician, I have a very large sort of like math and science part of my brain. Yeah.
Wow. I'm very terrible with math, actually.
Oh, really? I love math. I almost majored in math actually, just because I really, really love it.
Wow. That's so cool. Now I've got a friend who's a mathematician, and it's a whole nother language for me. Very complicated. No, wow, that's amazing, Audrey, that you did all that
Yeah.
and doing music. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I thought about changing careers actually when I finished in 2018. After 4 years of study, I was fed up with it. I wanted to get a 9 to 5 job as an employee in sales, but then I get like 3 bosses telling me, "Why don't you go and do something with music?" And my jaw just dropped. Like, what? So last year, the pandemic, I started my company, Shiels Productions, and I'm an entrepreneur now.
Wow. That's awesome. I think it's just great to follow your passion. I mean, that's how I looked at it. Is I was like, music's been my passion since I was 3. I'm going to do it. It was just never really a question, which I do feel very fortunate to have found my passion at such a young age, because I know a lot of people are still searching for what that is. But so I'm glad that you also found music as your passion and pursuing that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. And so what else are you working on with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, lots of writing. So I've got a handful more singles in the works. So new music coming soon, and just sort of figuring out the release plan and everything with that. But that's kind of the primary thing, is just trying to write a lot of music and get it out there, and then as soon as things open up, to get back to performing. But that's there's still certainly some number of months before that's gonna happen. But so lots of writing. And
How do
social
you
media.
how do you feel about the royalties on Spotify and all that?
Yeah, that it's so tricky. I mean, you just don't make you just don't make much from that. It's just, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's
You
too
know,
bad. It's too bad because I think it used to be, the music industry's changing, and there are good things and bad things about the direction. I think it's great. I think on the positive, it's great that anyone can sort of do it and anyone can put stuff out there, but also you're not making as much on streaming, and there's also just so much more noise to kind of break through for people to find your work as well.
yeah, look, a lot of musicians are not very happy with Spotify.
Yeah.
Even the previous ones before me and you, they from the vinyl and cassette and CD generation. I've put my stuff on Bandcamp as well. The royalty-free music libraries. That's where I've gone. But I think it's 100,000 streams on Spotify. That's only $50,
Oh, I
roughly.
know. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You just can't count on making anything significant from Spotify. You just don't.
Mm,
It's it's really too bad. Yeah.
but that's what it is. But have you looked at doing the royalty-free libraries yourself?
I haven't really actually. I mean, I usually just put it all out on the Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Google Play, all that stuff. That's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe I should look into that though.
Well, you
Yeah.
sell it for a one-off fee, like I don't know, $1,000. It's a
Right.
$1,000 in your pocket. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
It
Maybe
was
I should.
actually a film composer advised me to do it, to do that. I'll never.
Just be a Bandcamp, you said?
Yeah, Bandcamp or Envato Elements, Pond 5, Motion Elements, the royalty free library.
Yeah, that's actually, it's a good idea.
Mm.
I'm going to look into that. I'll add that to my to-do list. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
And don't, Audriix, don't sell your work too cheap as well.
Yeah, I need to talk to my team about that because that's an interesting idea.
Mm. I learned that the hard way when I was
Mhm.
starting out.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. There's so much talent out there. I like talented, listening to talented people bring something new to the table.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's just so much good music. I love one thing that I think is so fun about music is that there's no in a way you don't really need to I mean there is some like competing with other people, but in a way you don't really need to because somebody if someone's a fan of this person, it doesn't mean that they can't also be a fan of me, and I think that's kind of fun because I think hopefully that's, you can try to share fans in a way, and I think that's something that is really nice about
Mm.
music.
Yeah. Has it been easy or a hard journey for you to be a pop musician and tour?
I mean, it's definitely a hard journey, and the journey still continues. My ultimate goal is to be bigger than Taylor Swift. That hasn't happened yet, so I'm going to keep working till I get there. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I think what I've found is every sort of step that progresses my career feels like it's just a little step, but couldn't have happened without the step before it. So, it sort of started with I would, for my whole life, write music. But okay, cool. I'm a writer. I'm not a producer. So what do I do with that? And then started self-producing stuff when I started Stanford. And then, okay, now I'm at that level. Now with that stuff, how can I improve the next step? Well, I can find somebody who is a real producer who's better than I am. And then that took a long time trying to look for how do I find a good producer. And then I finally found, and I tried working with different people, and then I found a good producer. And then with that, was able to release my first EP, Colors. And then that did, a certain, it did. I was happy with some elements of how it did, but it obviously didn't take off to be the biggest thing, which is what I was hoping. So then what's the next step? Okay, now I need to get a manager. And it's just sort of like every step feels like, there's a lot of disappointment because you just keep trying and nothing ever takes off quite in the way you hope, but you kind of have to just take it a day at a time and stay positive and believe in yourself, I've found, and just just my voice teacher said this to me a couple weeks ago, is like being okay being in the mess and being in the journey, which I think is a good thing because I sometimes get more focused on the destination where it's like, oh no, well I wanted this to do this well and it didn't do exactly what I wanted, like, oh no. And it's like, no, the music industry, there's going to be disappointments and you're going to be living in a lot of uncertainty, and you kind of have to just live in that and be okay with it. And I thought that was good advice that my teacher gave me. So
Yeah, look, I'm in the process of looking for an agent myself. I'm starting out. I've only been doing it for 1 year. What is the tour life like for you?
tiring. Yeah.
Tiring.
Especially so the European tour I did with Ali Nature was my first. I mean, it was my first like real tour. I'd done a lot of shows, but it was more like one-off shows and more like local sort of stuff. But oh my goodness, the European tour, it was the most fun I've ever had and the most tired I've ever been because you're city to city and you go, our first show's in London, so we play that show, and then, and you show up early. Like, I also, for me, when I'm like a show day or like when I was on tour or whatever, I my mindset is I'm not here for fun, I'm here for work. And so I was not at all going off and having fun and touring around, like, going around exploring London or whatever, that kind of stuff. I was like, I'm here for work. I'm going to make sure everything that I'm doing is with only the mindset of this show. So it's from the moment you wake up, it's like, wake up, like do my steaming of my voice, vocal warm up, eat food that I know is going to be good for my voice and my stomach. That's going to be, that's going to help me. Some more warm ups, get to the venue early because I'm not going to be late. Make sure my stuff's set up, sound check, hair and makeup, all this stuff. Play the show. Now wait till the openers or wait till the headliners play their set. Talk to the fans at the merch booth after the show. Take it all down. I'm back to my hotel at midnight. Then I got to eat dinner, and then you're asleep at 2 a.m. You got to get up not that many hours later to catch the flight or train to the next city, and then do it all over again. So it's really tiring. But just the most fun ever. It's just a blast to get to play all these shows, and meet people and play all the different venues and cities and stuff. I mean, I just love it. Boy, is it tiring.
Yeah, no, I've been there myself because I played Hansel and Gretel opera, a few orchestras, and I can't sleep after, you know.
Yeah, there's just a lot, and especially for especially like, yeah, as I said, I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm here for work, so I'm also going to be really really careful to not get sick. Pre-coronavirus, I'm already with somebody who's wiping down the airplane seats and sanitizing my hands all the time because you often get sick, especially international traveling. So I'm like, I'm not going to get sick. I'm going to make sure I'm hydrating, make sure my voice is warm. I'm going to make sure I'm eating something that maybe I want to have that really delicious looking thing, but I'm not going to have that because what if that makes me sick or gets phlegm in my throat or whatever. So it's just, I'm just, planning everything out, making sure that I'm on my A game for every show.
Yeah, look, the problem with touring is, look, I've been on some tours for holidays. It's just you don't sleep properly, and you got to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning with a hangover and sit on a bus. That's not fun. Been there, done that. Ugh. Get sick, as you said, but you know, I don't know. I don't know how it works as a musician. Do you get like a day or two off, or what is it like?
Yeah, so I think for like that tour we played London, Manchester, Dublin one day after another, and then had 2 days off, and then had Paris and Amsterdam one day after another. So yeah, there's some
Do
days
they
off.
fly you first class or business or economy? What is it for you?
With that I was mostly taking the trains. I think. I
Gotcha.
think it was I must have flown. I think I must have flown from Manchester to Dublin. I think the rest was just a train.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No. Wow. That is awesome.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah. Europe's quite a long tour as well. So is Australia. I mean, Australia is a massive place, Audrey.
Oh, I know. I went to Australia. I remember it. But you know what? I was amazed by how efficient the airline within Australia was. I
Hmm.
couldn't believe it because I was with my family on a family trip a number of years ago, and I think, flew into Sydney, but went to a whole bunch of different places. Where you're flying. Every single flight was so easy, on time, no delays. I was just amazed at how easy and efficient it was. But yeah, it's definitely a big place. But it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to come back. It'd be so fun to play some shows there.
Mm. I can tell you about one time I was coming back from Darwin, Northern Territory to Sydney. My flight from Darwin to Sydney got cancelled, and Virgin Airlines, who I was flying with, didn't tell me. So I had to go from Darwin to Brisbane, then Brisbane back to Sydney. Got home at about 11 o'clock at night that night.
Wow.
People are pissed off when their flights are delayed.
Yeah. Maybe I just got lucky. We're all easy and on time, and short flights throughout Australia and stuff. I just thought it was. I was amazed because I was very used to, especially when I fly to LA. There's a lot of delays, and it's really annoying. And I was like, wow, Australia is easy.
Mm, mm. Yeah, LA airport, they're very slow there.
Yeah, that's why I like to Burbank Airport. I found is just it's a tiny little airport, and it's for me from San Francisco down there. It's like a 50-minute flight. It's so easy. It's
Mm,
just a breeze. So that's my when I can. That's where I fly into.
hmm. Wow. That's amazing. That is so cool to be able to tour like that.
Yeah.
What about hotels? Like, do you stay in what 5-star hotels, or how does it work for you?
No, I mean when I'm in LA, I have a friend who has a place that I stay with always, so that's easy. And then no, I stay in. I don't honestly, I don't remember. I was just staying where I didn't pick my hotels. I just stayed where the like where Ali and AJ were staying.
Like, what about when you toured Europe?
Yeah, that was the Europe tour. I was just staying with in the same places that they were,
Mhm.
so not too bad. Yeah, yeah. It was,
Wow.
and actually, that's not even true. And also stayed with friends in several of the cities. Like one of my best friends lives in London. I stayed with her. Um, One of my best friends at the time also was living in Amsterdam at the time. I stayed with him. So, you know, find yeah, just
Oh,
find.
I'd love to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah. Oh, it was also so fun to be able to have two of my very best friends come to my Europe tour. I mean
Mm.
that was awesome. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing to go to Amsterdam and all those European countries. Wow.
Lots of fun.
You know. Yeah, Audrey, look, thanks for coming on today's show. It was very great to have you today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great to talk with you.
You know, where can people find you on social media, or where can
Yeah,
they
so
find you?
find me at Audriix, which is spelled Audriix.
Yep.
So it's a silent X, double I. So it's pronounced Audrey, like Audrey Hepburn, but Audriix. And so Instagram, if you that's my username is Audrey spelled that way. And then Spotify, and if you go to audrey.com, I've got links to everything. But also if you just look up my name on Spotify or Apple Music or any of that stuff, you can find me. Got a bunch of music out, and most recent single I released was called Wasted Goodbye. So you can find that also on YouTube. Music video, that was a fun music video. You'll see some cool like shadow dancing sort of stuff going on. So yeah, if you just look up my name Audriix on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere, you'll find me.
Awesome. Keep up the great work. Keep up the talent. Always looking forward to listening to your stuff too.
Thank you so much.